I here, and I'm back with another video for Ophelia Talks. And today we are assembling the cardigan. So in the previous video we made the squares, and in this video I'm going to show you how to assemble the cardigan. There is a written pattern for this cardigan, so please follow the link in the description box below. Bridget came up with a genius way of creating the sleeves, which means we don't have to make special triangular squares. And it's really comfortable to wear. Not only that, it also makes it easy for us to assemble the cardigan. In the pattern there is a layout which will show you how to do this. It is very straightforward. So now it's assembly time. So first of all, we're going to make this construction for our sleeves. We will need this later on, but once it's made, it's a lot easier, and also it will give you an opportunity just to practice the join. We are going to be joining with crab stitches, so using your main color and the same hook, of course, as you are using for your squares. We are going to make 2 lots of joined squares, and then we are going to join those together. Okay, so first of all, let me explain how to do the crab stitch and how to join squares. So you pick up your squares like this. So with the outsides on the outside, you are going to hold your squares together, and you're going to make sure that you can find the stitches to tally them up. So here we have the chain space, so that's easy. That can be easily tallied up. And then you are going to be looking for the V's on either side of the square. See? These are the corresponding stitches on both sides. Then you look for this one, the next one, and so on. So this is the middle stitch of the cluster. And this here is the last stitch of the cluster, which then corresponds with the last stitch of the cluster on this side. And that's how I do it. I quickly check to make sure that I am picking up the correct stitch in each cluster. Okay, so let's get started. We are going to make our slip knot. Insert your hook. And insert your hook into the chain space on this square and on the other square as well. Then we are just going to do a single crochet. Now, we have, of course, started on the left-hand side. Normally in crochet, we would start on the right-hand side, but we are doing crab stitch. So we are going to be traveling backwards. So it's easy if you sort of do this kind of movement to get your hook to this location here. So go into that first V. Then go over to the other square, and I know this end is in the way, but if you hold the end just about there, you will automatically sew it in. And then here you go over and find the V on the other side, which is as I've shown you earlier. And you bring through your yarn and you do a single crochet as you normally would, but because we are sort of going backwards, it'll look different. So just go behind to find the next V, behind the stitch that you've already used on the other side to find that V, bring the yarn through and do your single crochet. And this is how you will continue all along the side of the square. And I just keep on checking to make sure that I am picking up the corresponding stitch on the other side. Yeah, that's the middle one. Yeah. And here I've picked up the middle one. Yeah. And this is how you will keep on going until you reach the corner chain space. And look, it makes quite a nice feature. And also make sure that you don't do it too tightly, because of course your squares are going to have to lay flat like this. So I will meet you at the corner. So I've just done my stitch in that last stitch here and there, and now I'm going to go into the chain space and I do another one, and that is the end of this join. So you can cut off the yarn. There we go. And this end has been taken along and is here, but this end of course will have to be sewn in or taken along at some sort of opportunity if we get that opportunity. So now here we are going to do exactly the same, but we are going to do 2 joins. So I now have these, so 1 of 3 and 1 of 2, and we're going to join these together. Now we do have to make sure that we get started 1, 2, 3 clusters in between here. We are going to get started with our chain space there, and then we have to make it to the join with our 3 clusters on this square, and then the join here will have to lay in 1, 2, 3 here. Okay, so maybe you might need to use, see, because you have to end here. Maybe you want to use stitch markers to provisionally attach this, and then of course do your crab stitch over that. So let's get started. So we go into the chain space on this square here, and then here we are going to find 1, 2, 3 and into there. Okay, and then we do our single crochet. Then holding everything together, we are going to look for that first stitch that we are going to have to join up with its neighbor, and we start doing our crab stitches. And as long as you tally up the stitches as you did before, it should be fine if you just start in the right location there. But just keep checking. Now I've managed to tally up these 3 clusters here. Then my next cluster is here and here. So I am just going to go over to that and do my single crochet. So in a way I am almost skipping my join here. So going into this stitch here and then finding the first one on that cluster there straight away. There we go, and doing my single crochet. And let me just do another couple of stitches just to show you. And let's see, is this my last one? There we go. Voila, like this, see? And we have gone past it, but it's fine. Okay, you can't tell that you've done that, and this way it's the easiest way to do it, because otherwise you're going to have too many stitches there. So I'm going to continue and making sure I end up in those correct locations while I do so. So I've made it to the end of my row here, and just as we started, we're going to do 1 in that corner chain space and 1 then in between the 2 clusters. There we go. So let me open it up so you can see it. There we are, look, see? So you finish in there and make sure your clusters tally up everywhere. So cut off the yarn. And so this is what we have created. You're now going to have to make a second one, because of course there are 2 sleeves on a cardigan. So I will see you when you have made your second one. And so here are my squares, which I'm going to lay out ready to attach together. So this is how I laid out my squares ready for joining. So you're going to start with joining all your horizontal rows. Starting at the base of your back, you're going to do these joins first. Then you join the next one. Then you have to add extra squares to the sides. So start with joining those 2 squares there, as you can see. Then you just continue along your back part as you are used to, and then towards the end you add those 2 squares as well. Then you continue with adding those 6 squares on the left hand side with 2 joins, and then of course the other side as well. And then it looks like this. So we've gone past the shoulders and we're working on the front, and then of course we have to join these ones as well. Here we go. So one side done and the other side done. And now it's time to start doing our vertical lines. We're going to start with attaching the sleeves. We are joining the sleeves the same way as we made them, so we are going to attach them offset. So use your stitch markers to help you to make sure that you attach them correctly. Now when you're doing your vertical joins and you get to a join like this, generally what I've done is 1 stitch in the corner chain space, and then straight away I went to the other corner chain spaces and did another stitch. So I didn't even sort of do a stitch for the join. I just went across to the other square. There. Here I've done all the vertical and horizontal joins. Now it is time to fold over our flat work and turn it into a cardigan. So we are going to make a side join here to ensure that we have a closed up cardigan. So I have my cardigan here. These are the 2 front bits, and now of course we are going to be seaming up this seam here all the way to under the arms, and then do the sleeve seam as well. So starting as we have been before, of course, with a slip knot, inserting your hook and just doing your seam. Now I will meet you when you are doing here a valley, and then once again here when you are doing what I'm calling a mountain. So valleys and mountains. I'll show you what to do there, and then you'll be off doing your seam without any problems. So when you make it to the underarm location, you have 3 squares meeting each other. Well, actually 6. So 1, then these 2, and then these 2. So 1, 2, 3 locations. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the corner chain spaces. So here, here, and here, right? These 3. And in each of these, we're going to do a single crochet, the back one, but we are not going to pull it through until we've done the last one. So we're going to do 3 single crochets together. So you go into, you go into the chain space, you pull up a loop, leave it on your hook, then you find the next chain space here, you go into that one, pull up a loop, so you now have 3 loops on your hook. Then you go into here. Just take your time to do this. And you go into there. Yeah, there we go. And you pull up a loop. Voila. So now I have all these loops on my hook. Now I yarn over and carefully pull through, because of course they're quite tight. There we go. Pull through, and you've done it. Now, as you can see here, this is one of my ends from my join. And to be honest, I've been taking all these ends along with me into my join. So you just start finding your stitches, do your first stitch, and make sure you have that end lying along into your join. Now here we have a similar valley as we did here, but this one is 3 locations. Here we only have the 2 locations. So you use this one for a pull-up, this one for a pull-up, and then you finish the single crochet together. So here you do 2 single crochets together, while here you did 3. Okay, I will meet you here where we will have to do what I'm calling a mountain, but of course it's a corner. So here we are, I'm at the chain space for the corner, and I am just going to be placing 3 crab stitches in there. And this will get me to the other side of that chain space, creating a nice corner, and off you go again, picking up stitches on both your squares. There we go. I will meet you now when I'm at the end here. Okay, so when you get all the way to your arm opening, you're going to go around the edge just for a little border. Now, make sure at this point that you try on your cardigan. Are the sleeves long enough? Is the body of the cardigan long enough? And to be honest, I have tried it on, and for me, it's not long enough. I am going to finish it here, but I'm going to leave my end out so I can rip it out again, and I think I might need to put another couple of rows of granny clusters, or even just double crochets or half double crochets. So you need to just make amendments. And also for the length of the cardigan, I'm not sure that this is the length that I want, so I might want to make it a little bit longer. It's supposed to keep me warm in the winter. It only comes just to my hips. I want it to come a bit lower than that, so I might in time make another 9 squares and just add them to the base of my cardigan. So also, not straight away, I am going to do my crab stitch around my whole cardigan. I'm going to leave it like this so I can look at that later on. So let's get going on doing the seam here. So I've made it to the outer edge here. I'm just going to place 1 more in the corner chain space, and then you open up your arm opening here, of course, and you go into that chain space there, and then you just start picking up your V's along the edge of your work. So here you have the V, and of course you don't have a second square because you're just going around the edge here to make a little cuff almost. But like I said, try it on first, make sure you have the length that you want. See, this is the little edge now, so it all ties in with what we've been doing all along our cardigan with our lovely crab stitch seam here. Okay, so I've decided to rip out this crab stitch seam. I'm going to be putting on a couple of rounds of half double crochets just to make the sleeves a little bit longer, because I feel they're not long enough for the length of my arms. So I'm just going to show you how to do that. So once again, start with a slip knot, insert your hook, and basically anywhere you want. You can get started by placing a half double crochet, half double crochet, double crochet. You know, I like to use the half double crochet to prevent things from going wavy. You still get a little bit of the height, but you don't get the wavy business if you don't want it. So this is what I'm going to do for a couple of rounds. So I'm just doing my last stitch of my round here, and then here I'm going to skip this first stitch here, go under the next V to do my slip stitch. That closes my round, and then I chain 2, and then I start with doing a new round of half double crochets, and this is how I continue until I think my sleeve is long enough. And then of course I will put on that crab stitch edge again. So I have now finished my sleeve with 5 rounds of half double crochet and a crab stitch edge, and I quite like that. It's given me a little bit more length to my sleeve and I needed that. So I will be doing that to the other sleeve as well, taking off this crab edge and putting on the half double crochet. To tie in with that, I have also decided to do a half double crochet round around the whole of the cardigan. So my front, my neck opening here, and then down the front and then down the back as well. I did start on the front because I am going to add extra squares at the base, so I will still be doing that. So, but just to see how it would look. Now when you get to a location where 2 squares meet and you have 2 chain spaces and then the join, all I do is make sure I go into the chain space and then I go straight into the other chain space. I just skip the join, and that way you don't you don't create too many stitches, making your edge wavy. So this will be fine once it has another row on top, or even just the crab edging on top. But when you get here, so I did 4 half double crochets together, and that brought this sort of edge here, this corner nicely together. So let me show you how to do that. So here you've got those 3 squares, you've got the 3 corner chain spaces. So here, let me just check. Yeah, that's the last one I've done. So yeah, the first one is in here. So you do 1, but not the last pull through. Then you yarn over again, go into the next one. This is quite a large one, so I'm just going to go and do another one. And then here, go over to that last square and do another half double crochet in that location. Then when you have all these loops on your hook, you're going to yarn over and carefully pull them through. Look at that. And then you continue and you have brought together that corner very nicely indeed. Now I'm just starting with 1 round here. I can't complete it because I'm doing more squares at the base, but it'll be okay for now. I will do another round when I have my squares added and I can complete my whole cardigan. And here is my finished cardigan. So as you can see, it is longer than Bridget's because I added an extra row of granny squares at the base of my cardigan. So I made 9 extra squares which I added to the base. Then once I added those, I did 3 rows of half double crochets going all the way around my cardigan. So 5 on the cuffs and 3 on the cardigan, as you can see here. I love the way it is finished in crab stitches, and I do hope you will be able to work out how to make this cardigan to your size. There are many possibilities for, yes, making it longer, but also you could do an extra row before the sleeves on each side to make it wider. Do watch out because this makes it a lot wider. You will find a link in the description box underneath this video which will take you to the pattern. I do hope you will enjoy making this cardigan and of course enjoy wearing it. I have to say, I have already worn it and I love wearing it. Thank you so much to Bridget for coming up with this brilliant idea of sorting out those awkward sleeves, turning them into an easy way for making sleeves, and so that we can all enjoy making and of course wearing our cardigan and keeping us warm. So thank you Bridget for the design, and thank you everyone for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!